My name is Bill Stewie, and a couple of years ago I bought a Lucas Dedicated Slabber. Right off the bat, when I started using it, it threw sawdust out about 10 feet or so, and it would make a pretty large area to have to clean up. One of my first modifications I made was this dust deflector, or anyway, it drops all of the sawdust right here in a line that's easy to clean up later. And for the dedicated slabber, you need to, I use these J hooks at an angle, and this is just a cheap 16-inch thick plastic that I had on hand. All of this is stuff that I had on hand, but it just hooks on the green 1-inch square tubing down on the bottom. Another thing is the mill comes with a positive stop on the left side, and the mill will kind of roll a little bit. So I use this clamp, and it fits right there. It's not a, if you had a lot of slope, it probably wouldn't hold the mill sufficiently, so be careful with it, but it does hold it in most cases enough to where I can run around and change my settings. Another thing, my brother said that it looked like it was throwing way too much sawdust on the motor. And I understand that Lucas doesn't think that's a problem, but I did initially. So I made this guard to catch the sawdust that was flying onto the motor. And in order to hold it up there, I needed to have something. So I came up with this idea to make this little basket. It has a 1/2-inch square wire bottom, so the sawdust will drop through, but it just drops down right through here. And I've got my wedges, I've got my tape, my brush, my crayon for marking the logs if I want to mark them, and then pushing the mill when you're by yourself, and sometimes it works a lot better to have two people, but I came up with my two people right here with 2 fingers. And I can turn this crank and crank the mill right through the log, and it applies about the right amount of pressure. Thought about using something bigger like a boat winch, but I think you could apply too much pressure, and too much pressure on it would probably not be good for your bar. What I did with the crank is put a bolt through here. The actual crank is a big washer here, a big washer here with a tube that fits over the bolt, and you can tighten it down. Weld a plate on here to make a handle, and there's a piece of PVC in here that swivels. Sometimes the string would want to get caught back here, so I put this block of wood on that keeps the string from being able to get back there. I bring the string down to this pulley, which is basically the same level as the bar. I have a piece of PVC that's split and velcroed on here so that the string can't get into the chain, and it goes down to the far end down here, and I'm going to walk over there. What I did was I machined up some blocks that would just fit into the rail with a pin in it, and then a 2x4. This drops down to bar level. There's a pulley here and a pulley there. Everything is in a straight line. The string comes back again at bar level, so all of my pulling is in line with the bar. That's it on the modifications that I've made to my mill. If you would like to use any of them, that's your decision, your liability. I assume no responsibility for what you might want to do with your mill, as I took all the responsibility when I did mine. And if you feel like you want to do that, that's up to you. Thank you.